What's up, everybody? This is your boy James. I want to welcome you all to another episode of The Real Deal with James. This is actually cool, man, because this actually would have been my third episode that I've done this week, but you're actually my second. But you have been in this industry. I would say that I can probably track back about. Well, I think probably from when I first started seeing things, I would say like 10 to 15 years. But when actually did you get started?
Well, I actually got started probably around that about 13. But serious about between 15 and 13. I was doing it, but it didn't really take off to the next level until about around that time.
Okay.
So I've been in the game about over like 20 something, but didn't really take it serious to about 13, between 15, 13 years. Yeah.
Okay. So for everybody that's wondering, I want to welcome Mr. Devontae Black, here to the podcast. This is an amazing guy, master engineer. He's worked with a wide array of artists. So many artists that you kind of can't really name all of them off the top of your head. You kind of got to go back and look at, the list of people that you worked with. But what I can say is that everybody that you've worked with out here in the industry, like I follow these people, like, especially everybody that comes from the area, from the Atlanta area, which you come from that area as well. I definitely want to welcome you to the podcast, man. Like, this is really dope. More so, because I follow you and I'm really, really big on music and, just hip hop, R&B, everything urban music. So I appreciate everything that you've done out here. And I think that you've laid a lot of ground and foundation for a lot of the people that's out here, obviously engineering and producing and, working on that side. Like, there's a lot that you've done that really goes unspoken. So, when you talk to people and they talk about a lot of the greats, sometimes they mention you and sometimes they don't. But I think that you've laid a lot of that ground and foundation for a lot of these people, the current day producers and whatnot that are out here. So bravo to you for that. But thank you for coming on to the podcast, man.
Man, I appreciate the invite. Yeah, definitely.
Like, how often do you kind of get like these opportunities to come onto podcasts and really talk about like the things that you've done and like for people to really celebrate you for what you've done out here?
Well, recently, since the pandemic, it's been kind of, I've been kind of slow with it. I've been just really focused on being around fam.
Yeah.
And, so you're actually the first interview I've done in probably 2 years.
Okay. All right, man. Okay.
Yeah, 2 years. And then once you hit me, it was crazy because somebody else ended up hitting me. And I was like, wow.
Look, I'm glad to be the first, man.
Yeah.
I think I'm a little surprised at that, but then I guess on the same token, I'm not. Like, when you mentioned the pandemic and just everything that's been going on, I think a lot of people have been a little slow in that respect, just as far as getting things done and staying focused and motivated and all of that. Like, I guess overall, like, how do you feel like the pandemic really affected you in terms of like your career and whatnot?
Well, the career-wise, it slowed down, but still people were trying to put out things to help uplift their communities and try to uplift, like homelessness and the things that was going on with, with the police, the defunding, and a whole lot of that was going on. Just people finding ways to reach people through music. Even, a lot of businesses, they would have, doing promo for their stuff. They needed stuff done. So it had its pros and its cons. It was definitely different. It was different than the norm.
Right.
They're getting about 10, 15 singles or more a week to getting like one or two or three or none, So, at one time I was getting probably about 40 songs a week.
Okay.
And then it went down and down and down to
Yeah.
zero
Yeah.
sometimes. Yeah, but luckily I have a hustle mentality, and I have other streams of income. So
Yeah.
you
I
know,
think with this pandemic, I think it really showed like who really had like that hustle mentality and who could
right,
really, figure out how to maneuver through this and still be able to survive and actually make a living and keep some money coming in.
right,
Because obviously there were a lot of people who still were able to remain successful, throughout the pandemic. And
right.
I mean, I mentioned people like Erica Badu like all the time, just with that whole idea of setting up bubbles in your yard and doing shows at home, and it sounds crazy as shit, but when
Yeah,
you think about
yeah,
it, like I mean, you charge $1 a pop, and it's like you actually do something, and then you could donate that
right.
money to something or whatever you decide to use it for. But I just thought it was dope, and it just showed a different level of creativity and drive. Like when you're up against the wall, it's like, what do you do?
Right. That's most definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, people and creatives. I was looking like, dang, I should have came up with that.
Right.
Oh, then the DJ, I was just like,
Yeah.
hey, they were creating stuff, and
Yeah.
it was definitely dope to see, just showing how talented we are as a
Yeah.
people. It was just important for all of that to be showcased. So, oh no, we not just no clowns. We don't just get on no stage and just perform for you. We can create it, and
Yeah.
now you gonna see what I want you to see.
Yeah.
You're not gonna what you see. You gonna see what I want you. That's kind of how I took some of it.
Yeah. I thought it was cool. Just thinking of the pandemic and, just overall creativity. I thought it was cool. Calvin Richardson, he had created a platform for doing shows online, where people were able to come on and actually kind of host concerts and whatnot on his platform and whatnot. And, obviously sell tickets online and that sort of thing. And I thought that was pretty dope.
Yeah.
For those who still wanted to kind of tour and reach their fan base and that sort of thing. And, obviously with the whole versus thing and, that kind of stuff going on, like through Instagram and all these other platforms and whatnot, I thought that was pretty dope too.
Oh yeah, definitely. Versus was a whole nother level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, kind of, just to move forward a little bit, kind of take us back to like the beginning of your career. Like, how did you actually, how did you actually get started in music? Because you kind of had like I won't say necessarily a tumultuous or a rough childhood, but just like, obviously coming up and wanting to get into music and whatnot. It seemed like it may have been a little difficult for you to get started.
Yeah. Like everybody, like nowadays, you start seeing all these movies and TV shows about foster kid. Everybody been in foster care now. That's like a cliche in storylines now.
Right.
You never, because it was never talked about,
Right.
But yes, I grew up in foster care. I've been in over 30 different foster homes. I grew up in that system, and and I was able to come out of it, and music helped help me to that basically find ways to express myself.
Yeah.
Didn't know which way to go, because when you're used to certain things or certain people treating you a certain way and you don't know how to get it out, you end up getting it out the wrong way.
Right.
So have to try to find ways to channel it in art and things like that. Because I was doing art, I was doing all kind of stuff. I got to the point where I was doing all of that, and it was helping me. But music in itself had helped me to, I was able to write lyrics, say how I was feeling. I was able to learn recording. I actually learned all this stuff on my own. I was watching people, and I was blessed to be around people who let me watch how they work. Because back then people was really very particular about letting people see what they, what they do. Like now it's kind of open, but back then people didn't really want you to know what they were doing because it was such, it wasn't as in high demand like it is now, but everybody didn't really know how to engineer, or everybody didn't know how to stack vocals. Everybody didn't know how. Now you got all this YouTube and everything, so people are learning faster. So I was just blessed to be in the right places at the right time, as, the years came. But to really get in the gusto, starting out at this Christian Academy, I wrote a cheer. I wrote a cheer for a talent show, and the cheer won. And we used to perform at the assembly, weekly. And once that happened, I was like, yeah, I'm the man. I was the man. Once you do that, and the only reason why I was in Christian Academy because of my foster mother at the time. She actually enrolled me into, a Christian Academy, which they don't give them money to put you in no Christian Academy. You go to public school. Mm-hmm. But she actually, loved me enough to put me in a Christian Academy, through mid elementary to somewhat mid middle school. But again, like I was saying, I was still going through the quirks of trying to figure out how, to cope and deal with people, because being in different foster homes and dealing with women, I was having issues with dealing with women and how people used to talk to me because, that's what I always saw. I saw women telling me or doing stuff to me or whatever. So it just always took me out of my comfort zone, and then I would react in ways where I should. Right. And so, I ended up getting kicked out of the Christian Academy. Then I had to go to public school. And so I went to public school in Atlanta. And then from that point, it was time for me to go to high school. So I ended up, I did an audition to go to North Atlanta, for performing arts.
I was going to say, is that a school, like a school for the arts or?
Yeah. Okay. I went and I actually made it for my singing. So did that, and that's where friendships happen with like Bobby V. That's like my brother from ever since. Been blessed to do a lot of his records and all that. And but still at that time I was still trying to figure it out. I was always the quiet kid, which people see me now, they're like, quiet? You quiet? What? Right. I was like, hey, if you met me in school, I was stay to myself until you said something wrong.
It's funny how listening to your story, like I think in a lot of ways, like our lives mirror. Like, I mean, I didn't grow up in foster care or anything like that, but when you talk about like you were kicked out of the Christian Academy, for me, fast forward to college, I was kicked out of school twice. And the second time I had to sit out a semester, and then I had to sit out a year. And then once I sat out that year, I had to just pay for school myself. Like they wouldn't give me financial aid or anything. And right. I think that like my story and then your story as well is just a testament to anybody that's listening or, watching, that regardless of what happens, like you can move past that. Like you can move past that and you can succeed and like you can do well, because obviously look at you now and look at, how far you've come in the relationships that ultimately you were able to build and develop. And, just in terms of like where I am now, whereas, somebody kicked out of college twice, you would think that, it's just a wrap or they're not going to go back or whatever. And I figured it out, went back and graduated. But I mean, shit happens, man. And I think this is a way for people to see that, when stuff is happening for them, they can look at somebody like me or look at somebody like you and see that shit happens and you still can move on and you still can be successful and accomplish the things that you want to do. So, obviously bravo to you for that. But I just wanted to interject on that piece a little bit because I think that's dope. And that's one of the things like I want to be able to show people like through the podcast is that you can have issues or you can have stuff that happens or you can be in foster care and struggle and still make it.
Hey, it don't. And and it's kind of hard to really you don't really have time to do a whole like step by step. So you got to figure out ways to jump from a scene to a scene. So I'm just really giving bits and pieces. But
Right.
you're right. It's a lot. There's a lot of transition and a lot of things.
I'm just plugging up.
Huh?
I'm listening. I'm just plugging up.
Oh no, you good?
Okay.
Yeah, it just a lot of transition that you go through. Trying to figure out who am I? What is my purpose? Because purpose is key to anything. Trying to actually figure out what your purpose is, because we always doubt. We always get to a point where we doubt, and I tell people it happens. It happens all the time. Don't think you crazy, or don't think life is over just because you doubt yourself, or you may feel I don't want to do this no more. Hey, it might be something else for you to do too. I mean, it's not.
So how long it took me to figure out that I wanted to do media? Like, it wasn't in the very beginning. Like I've been an accounting major, I've been a marketing major, I've been an advertising major, and it wasn't until a chance of getting into radio that I said, okay, communications is where I really should be and what I really want to do. And as I thought about it at that point, I could then think back and look at times where I knew that I wanted to do this and whatnot, and just kind of shied away from it, because just like you said, you didn't talk a lot or you were shy. I was really the same way. So like even once I got into radio, I didn't really talk at all. So it's crazy that I worked for Radio One and I worked for a TV station here, and it wasn't until I left both of them that I decided that, damn, I want to be on air. Like I want to talk. But by that point, I had left them already. But it's cool.
Yeah, and I get that, because I ended up doing acting. I've acted in a couple of plays and held a lead role. I do stage management for concerts. I've been blessed to do so many things, and I tell people, I'm like, hey, it's no limit to me. I can't really put myself in a box and say I'm just this, because I know I always do this and this and this. Like people will say, oh, you could be only strong at one thing, but you could do a whole lot of other things. I'm like, hey, when I get to learning something, I'm finna master all that stuff.
You could be strong at. I think that times have changed. Just the same way that you're doing a number of things, I do a number of things too, and I get that very thing or that very statement from people that you got to figure out just one thing that you want to do or whatever, and you can be a master. That's like that. That time is gone, man.
That's gone.
That time is gone. Like my company has so many different layers to it. So like, I obviously have the magazine, I have the podcast, I have radio, I have PR. Like I got a lot of the shit going on with this company, but everything is like really successful. So it's like to have my own multimedia company, and I'm doing my own media, and like I couldn't have it no better way. Like I spent my whole life wanting to work for BET, and once I did some stuff with them, I'm like, nah, I'm cool. I just want to do my own thing. I don't want nobody telling me what to do, man. And I don't know.
Yeah, once you work for somebody, man, you'll definitely see you.
Well, once you work for yourself, you won't go back. Like it's nothing like working for yourself, especially if you focused and you're doing what you need to do.
Right.
To me, in my opinion, I just feel like everything falls in place. Like if you're doing everything the right way.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, you right on that. Yeah, definitely right on that.
But I think you've done amazing. Like obviously maneuvering through everything. Like, did you always know into like obviously mastering and producing and that sort of thing?
Nope, I did not. What happened was it was because would nobody ever record me, or I had to do it on their time, and I was just like, I'm like, man, let me figure something out. Right. And so watch people. I'm like, okay. And then I just start reading up on stuff. Because young guys, we want to read.
Right.
So so I just started reading, man, and I actually learned a lot of stuff. Just like if I was going to class, I was reading up and learning how to do certain things. So I started recording myself, and I started recording other people. I was recording kids, these kid artists that are grown now. Like I was able to see a lot of kids grow. I was able to record Mulatto when she was a little young kid,
Oh, wow.
Yeah, when she was a young kid, we had did this song with this young guy named Key Swag. He was very popular back in the day. He was a young kid artist and he used to be on BET and all that when 106 was around. And they
Okay.
did a collaboration song with Mulatto, him, and some other popular young artists at that time. What's her name? Nerd Star. All of those kids at the time. And it was definitely, a blessing to be able to help them. And then other kids, I love working with kids. So it was just like, if I could help, I'm always be there to help. I'm always available to help anyone, in need of any of assistance,
But that's
and
dope too. It's
yeah.
dope to have connected with with people kind of at a young age, and especially when kind of like when they were, I guess, considerably like nobodies, or they were fresh out there,
All performing at, they were all
actually.
at playing shows and everything.
Yeah,
Like it was, yeah.
like I remember. It's funny because I think back, and it's funny because I hate to say like we shit on ourselves, but I just think a lot of times like we put ourselves down, like in terms of like some of the things that we do, and we don't think that certain things are really big, or we just don't give a lot of light to certain things that we do or think much of it. And I look back like in my early days when I first started doing media and press and doing interviews and stuff like that, and sometimes I'll hear somebody on the radio, and then I'm like, damn, I did interview this person like when they, like way back in the day or like 10 or 15 years ago. And I can think back to like the Rihannas, like when she dropped her first album, and when Chris Brown dropped his first album. And like a lot of these cats, like, just interviewing these people, at that time and whatnot. And then, I would think about it like in current day, like, damn, I wish I could do something with them. And then I'll think about it like, damn, I did talk to them like when they first came out and whatnot. But
Yeah.
it's amazing sometimes when you look back at like some of the stuff that you've been able to do. And just the fact that, like you said, you connected with a lot of these people. And somebody like Mulatto, who's like huge out there right now.
Yeah. Huge. It's just crazy seeing them. Like they just blew up, man. And you just having faith in what you do and just keep moving forward. It can happen. You just got the people that surround you.
Yeah.
People believing in you. Everybody, and then everybody time not gonna happen at the same. It's not gonna happen at the same time.
For sure. For sure.
So you just gotta put in work.
Yeah, almost definitely. So, for everybody that's listening, and we've mentioned, obviously mastering a couple times. Kind of break that down, like to the people who may not know what that is for you to actually master mix and master a project.
Okay, so basically, what the part of music that I do, I finalize the actual stem of the record. So the actual record comes to me from mixing. Mixing is the part where individual tracks get blended to sound what you hear on the radio.
Okay.
Then when it gets to me, I take the bulk of the song, and then what I do is make it, as a woman would say, very pretty.
Okay.
Make it sound, make it glossy, make it shine, however you want to.
Right.
And then to make sure that anybody that love that low end, that bass, make sure it's hitting at an equal percentage to where it don't blow your eardrum. Because a song can be mixed to the point where it actually damage your ears. or mastered to the point where it can damage your ears. It could be too hot, meaning too many highs, and it could pierce your ear. Low end can blow your eardrums. I mean, it's a lot of different things, but it's more so a technical thing, and we just make sure that the song overall sounds great. And all four elements, like the radio in your car, your MP3 player, on your TV, and on your headphones.
Okay.
On your headphones. So we overall just make sure those the sounds are definitely making sure that they, it's pleasant to the ear. That's the best way to say it. If I go a little, you probably be like,
right.
Yeah. So
right.
You're okay. So you telling me you take that decimal and put it on top of that, and then to the left, and then talking about 3 dB, you're gonna be like you say who, B D who? I know I did that before, and it was like, yeah. So what you do again?
Right. It's amazing. Like I've always been fascinated, I think with the studio overall. Just like seeing that whole atmosphere and obviously the boards and all of that stuff. Even though, like, if I look at like a set of boards today, like I have no clue what the fuck I'm looking at, or just overall, like that whole atmosphere, like just totally excites me. So like, I was in the last time I was, well, actually not the last time I was in Atlanta, but I was there a couple years ago, and I did a photo shoot at Icon Studio, and I was just like, I felt like I was in heaven, like going into the studio, like shit, like I don't want to leave, man. Like I just like that whole atmosphere.
You was in that white room?
It probably was. It was on the second floor. I can tell you that.
Oh, second floor. I've never been to the. I know they had that. No, they got that sound room up there. I mean that rehearsal space up there.
Yeah, it was on the second floor, and then I did an interview with Rodney Perry down on the first floor. It was like a conference room or something on the first floor that I sat in there and interviewed with.
What, a glass area?
Yeah. And then the photo shoot was upstairs, and it was just to walk in and see like all of the plaques on the wall, and then obviously the studios and all of that stuff. I'm like, God, like I just love that whole atmosphere. But again, I don't know what the hell I'm looking at when I.
But anytime that's like that, even though 90% of the time we don't really use the boards like that no more. Yeah. I mean, back in like if you're doing analog work, you'll use boards a lot. A lot of times people don't use the boards, but the look of having a board it's nothing like it.
Yeah, because you're right.
It's a vibe, and then you set the mood with the lights. You just it's all a vibe for sure.
Like, what do you think is the biggest thing that has changed as far as just the engineering and the mastering business over the years? Like you started this probably 15 years ago. So what's different now in 2022? Like, is it easier? Is it more difficult?
I mean, everybody is doing it. That's basically where it is right now. That's basic. The way to sum that up is everybody is saying that they do master and they do mix and they do track and they do.
They can all say it, but the question is, are they doing it right, or are they doing it right? Good? So,
but that's the one thing that for sure that has changed, because back in the day it wasn't like that. You didn't even really see any black people that was doing mastering. Mastering was only a select few of older white men, that were doing mastering, which still is a lot of the known mastering engineers are the older white guys. I mean, it's starting to change more now, but that's just what people are used to. So a lot of people, they're gonna automatically send people to them because that's what they're known for. And I luckily, I've done a lot of work with some people, so a lot of labels are, they'll still continue to use me. It is definitely hard to get uh, a label to actually want to use you consistently because they have to trust everything 100% because they once they send it to you, bam, they just want it back. They don't want to have to make. I mean, yeah, you have to make edits, but they want to do as best as possible. But that's just how the labors are,
Right.
and that's just how that is.
So like how has that affected your career? Just the fact that not as many people are necessarily using you or wanting to use people to come in and actually do the mastering. So how have you been able to kind of restructure your business and your craft, to the point where you're actually still getting work?
Yeah, I mean, by the grace of God, a lot of people still alive. A lot of loyal people. A lot of people who've come to me for over the years that they may not even be doing music no more. They tell somebody else, or they working with artists now, so they send them to me. So luckily, I've been blessed to get that. Like Ray J. Ray J been working with me for the past what 10 what no about 8 years, and I've been doing stuff from here. And I don't really post it because he don't never post. He don't put nothing out, so it's
Yeah.
just like he just do music and don't ever put it out.
Yeah.
So
It's,
and I just it's so many hit records I got. Man, it's just
it's something
nobody.
about it's something about him specifically. I think he and Brandy specifically, like in this current day. I just feel like, and she's probably not the same as far as like when you say that he's got so much stuff and he just doesn't really put anything out or whatever.
Mm.
But I do feel like, as far as like their music and whatnot now, when it comes out, like it doesn't really get the push that it used to. Like I like, especially like with him, like I feel like he's so underrated, and like people say underrated all the time. But I
Yeah,
just feel like he's so underrated. Like he's somebody that I've definitely wanted to connect with over the years, just because I think that he's done some amazing things, and I think that he's laid some groundwork for a lot of people that obviously goes unmentioned and untold, and a lot of people just don't really know some of the
yep,
stuff that he's done, and like everything that he's doing out there with Raycon and like all of that stuff.
crazy man. That boy.
Like that dude is smart. Like that dude is smart. And same for Brandy. Like all of the stuff that
Oh
she's
yeah,
how
and
she's
she
been
doing
able to stay
much
relevant.
now.
Like I'm trying to do something with the whole family, like with them, and then with the mom too, because like to
Mama,
to, to manage two careers like that, and like have them blowing through the roof like the way that she has, like that shit just does not happen. Like it just don't happen.
it out. Why are they still dealing with their mama? Like, who wouldn't? Look at what's going on.
Yeah, like I
What?
mean, they're where they are because of their mom. So like they're where they are. Like to me, the reality, and it's the same thing if you look at a Beyonce and the fact that her father was in the midst of everything and whatnot. Like it,
Right.
like I think the beauty with her and I'll even say with Destiny's Child and just that whole, that just that whole situation was having him there, because if it was up to the label and they had people in place, they wouldn't have got the same push. They wouldn't have had people that really gave a damn about them. And at the end of the day, all of them, whether it's Beyonce or whether it's Brandy or whether it's Ray J, they had somebody in their corner that really cared about them and what they made, and their residuals and all of that.
Right.
So they had somebody actually looking out for them. Versus if they weren't in place, who knows what would have happened? They might have blew and then
Right.
faded away after some time, because the labels they lose interest after a while. So you got to have
Very.
somebody that's in your corner and that's pushing for you. So like, why wouldn't they still be working with their mom like that? That it just only makes sense.
Yeah. That's. Oh, sorry. My bad.
Oh no, you good. But no,
Yeah.
I think that's dope, man. And not even just speaking of Ray J, like you've worked with so many people. I mean, when you think of the TIs and you think of the OMG girls and you think of, I mean, it's so many people, like a laundry list of people that you've worked with.
Yeah.
Like who's the first person that you mastered for? And I know you mentioned Bobby V.
Yeah, I got Bob. Bob is in there. Oh, 2 Chainz. Dog, the first song. Ooh, I think it was a T.I. record.
Okay.
I think it was a T.I. record. I was at Soul Asylum Studios at that point. I think it was a T. I think it was a T. Well, big record. Yeah, I think it was a T.I. record.
Okay.
Off of that Paper Trail.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I don't know. It might be. I don't did so many records. I don't know.
That's a blessing to be able to say though, man. Like this.
Yeah. Hey, man, my hard drive definitely because I hard drives galore.
Yeah.
Stuff and nobody used half of the stuff out of all the hard I have and the music I've done. Man, none of the music like seen a light of day. It's crazy. A lot of records.
Like who out there do you feel like you still would obviously want to work with?
Definitely Outkast. I would definitely like to work with them.
I think I'm surprised that you haven't worked with Outkast.
No, man, I would love to work with those guys because they just so much.
Yeah,
being able to listen to like just and watch the process, because a lot of times the process of how people orchestrate what they are doing is just amazing to me because it's just everybody process different and just watching different people do what they do is just amazing because you could never think one person is going to be the same because I've seen people just walk in the studio and just say what they say and all right, I'm gone. Just done and then send it over to Black for mastering. We don't get blah blah blah. I've seen that happen. Then I've seen people that want to sit through the whole process. But yeah, but everybody process different. So.
Yeah. No, I think I think that definitely would be dope doing something with Outkast. Like their whole, I think just their whole aura and like work ethic and everything is just like at the top of the roof. Like I connected with Big Boy when he was pushing Purple Ribbon. So that was like 06 maybe, like 06, 07. I think I actually connected with just about everybody on that label at that time.
Yeah, that was,
and it just was cool. Just the whole vibe that you got, and I've interviewed so many people over the years, so it's like just the same way you talk about people that either want to be part of the process or they don't want to be part of the process. It's almost identical, like on this side, like as far as interviewing artists, like you find some that are like really into the process and into actually interviewing and talking about the stuff that they have going on, and then you have the people that you can kind of tell from the first word that they speak that they really don't give a shit and they ain't really trying to be bothered. I mean, but he was like super cool and as well, like all of the people that he was working with at that time, like to be able to connect with like Janelle Monáe, like back in that time, and like really talk to her. Like I talked to her at that point, and I talked to her when she put her first album out. And I thought that first album was fire, and like everybody was looking at me like, what? And then you look at her today, and it's like, I told you, like.
Now they on the bandwagon.
Yeah, they on the bandwagon now. But I mean, this was like 07 that she dropped that project, and I'm like this is fire.
And she was on Bad Boy Records, and everybody was
what? and there's a lot of people don't really know the history, but it's cool though. It was cool to see, obviously a lot of that though. How you would want to connect with them.
Yeah, yeah. I definitely like dealing with like soul artists. I was able to work with Eric Roberson years ago.
Actually, I just did an interview with him because he's got a new project out, but it's been like maybe 4 or 5 months ago.
Yeah, and that record he got out called Lessons, that's like
Yeah,
great.
yeah, and the remix, and
Yeah,
I was able to connect with him and Raheem Devine and
yeah.
everybody on the track. But it's hot though.
That song is out of here.
Yeah,
That's hard. Yeah, that song hard right there. I love that song.
yeah. Now, just kind of thinking of like where things are now. Like obviously we're in 2022 and the pandemic in a lot of ways is not necessarily fading away, but things are getting a little bit better. Like what kind of things do you have planned out now? Like what things are you working on just to kind of progress your brand?
Well, really with my brand itself, with the mastering, I haven't really been pushing it as much because I pretty been having a flow. I'm thinking of doing some other things this year.
Yeah.
But I haven't really ironed out exactly what. But this year, I know we got the Sweet Harbor Music Festival. We're gonna be doing. I'm the stage for that.
Okay.
I have to pay,
Now when's it going on?
that's the one that's in the fall.
Okay.
They do have during they have one during Mother's Day weekend.
Okay.
But we're not affiliated with that one. We do the Sweet Harbor Music Festival
Okay.
in the fall. It's normally the end of the last weekend in September, the first, like end until the first of the
Of October. So that's down there in Atlanta, or
yeah, in Atlanta.
okay.
Yeah,
I'll make sure I come down for that.
yeah. So
Yeah.
that just always trying to figure out new things, man. I'm always trying to open. Me and a friend of mine's. I'm a part investor into his shoe company. He does he does shoes, not make shoes. He buys, sell, resell shoes and things like that in that business as well. You know, like a lot of that stuff just always trying to figure out different ways to bring some kind of income coming.
It's cool talking to people like yourself because you can kind of see like where obviously things kind of connect and things mirror and where you think the same. And I'm always doing the same thing, really trying to figure out different ways to monetize my brand, but then also to bring in additional streams of income and that sort of thing, man. So I think, like I said already, like I think that you've done an amazing job, obviously, just in your journey and with your career and brand. And
appreciate it.
It obviously takes a little bit just in terms of rebranding yourself and figuring out different things to do when technology and just life catches up to what it is that you're doing and everybody kind of starts doing the same thing. It takes a little bit to kind of figure out some new ways, but I can see that you're definitely on that path and whatnot.
I'm trying to keep it going, man.
Yeah.
Trying to keep it live, but I'm always gonna have some, and I try to tell, like when I speak at these things with kids and stuff like that, I let them know I get that you want to be an artist, but you got to think about the pros and cons with that as well. You got to think about when am I going to get my first check, or what does that look like? What does that check look like? Because a lot of times you don't know what you're going to get. I mean, and then once you get that signing bonus, that's a loan. That's just like if we go out right now and they give us a $25,000 loan somewhere. That's the same thing. You're just getting a loan from a record label.
Right. And see, they're
It's
not even thinking about it like it's a loan because it's called a signing bonus. So they're
yeah,
thinking they're getting some money and that's it. That's their money. But in the
yeah,
end, like you say, you end up paying that back.
yeah. You got to pay, and you got to pay that back first before you get your real check.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah. What do you think that you've learned in all of these years that you've been out here that is obviously going to help you to move forward?
Well, definitely. Just working with people. Just learning different people because you're end up mixing with so many different type of people,
Hmm.
and it's real helpful that you get to learn those type of people. You deal with all Jews, you deal with uh, Indians, all these different type of people are in this realm, and sometimes people don't know how to talk to them, and you don't know how they act towards certain things, and being around them, you just see they just like you. They just like you. A
Yeah.
lot of people think, oh, man, this dude is like this. Uh, but when you actually meet some people like that, you like, wow, they just like me. I
Right.
mean,
Right.
dudes, and just because they like to wear suits, they like to wear jewelry, they like to do this, man, they just like me. They
Right.
just like they put their pants on the same way I do.
Same way.
We all they might have a couple of digits more than me, but we are all the same.
Exactly.
You know, it's only one that's over us and that's up high. I look at everybody as the same, but just being in the industry, that is like one of the things that kind of helped me learn how to deal with people more is because of the different type of people you have to deal with. You deal with some arrogant people, you're gonna
Absolutely.
deal with some straight up a-holes. I mean,
Yeah.
but
Absolutely.
you have to learn how to handle it to the point where they understand you're not the dude that they're gonna talk to like that,
Right.
but then be able to let them come back and apologize to you for them being out of pocket.
Uh,
But you just know how to do it in a way where that's not gonna hurt your brand still. Because at the end of the day, music industry is all about branding, and it's about what this dude gonna say to the next person about you.
mhm. Uh-huh. Because everything is word of mouth.
Yeah, it's word of mouth with the music industry.
Right. What are you most proud of, with your career and your journey?
And most proud of, let's see, most proud of my Grammy nominations. Just being nominated, not me personally, but just songs I've done being
Yeah.
nominated. That's always a blessing because at the end of the day, that final sound was me.
Right. And it's
Oh,
validation that, of all of the blood, sweat, and tears that you put into it, like you actually did something right. Like you doing
yeah,
something right.
right, right. Even though, even songs that may have not gotten Grammy nominated, but they've been hit records, it's just like, yo, it's just a blessing just to even have, okay, this is, regardless, this is Grammy nominated, Devontae Black, even though back in the day, I used to kill it. Boy, I used to, Grammy nominated, but
Yeah.
now I'm more so like, yeah, yeah, I'm Devontae Black. I don't even ask more. I'm just like, what's up.
Right. Right. No, but that's
Yeah.
that's I think that's dope, man. Like I said, it's just it's just I think there's just an unspoken power in just knowing that you're being seen and that you're being recognized. Like it's not necessarily about actually winning, or that sort of thing. Like
Right.
even like with everything that I'm doing, like I've been doing media for 20 years, and like because I've been kind of building my own platforms like throughout that entire time, it hasn't necessarily like you kind of start wondering, well, damn, am I doing the right thing, or should I really just be focusing on a corporate job, or like when is the money gonna come in, or that sort of thing. And then it's like I don't know. It's like this year, like kind of the floodgates have opened. So it's like I'm getting this opportunity and I'm getting this opportunity and I'm talking to you and like it's like I'm doing all these other interviews and my magazine is the subscriptions are launching on the 15th and
Right.
it's just a lot of stuff happening like since January and it's just like damn like the floodgates are like finally opening now and I've
Right.
done two features with magazines like, or shit, they want to talk to me, and I'm like, damn,
Yeah.
I'm actually doing something right. Like I'm doing something right. Like I've been saying, okay, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this, and it just feel like it's finally paying off
Fine.
after close to 20 years. It's like it's finally
Hey,
paying off. But that's what
you
it is, like
hear
grind and
story.
hustle that you got to put into it, and God, and
Yeah. But you hear the stories about Steve Harvey and all them, and when they actually popped off,
yeah,
Sam Jackson, So hey, this thing it is not for the weak, but hey, it's
yeah.
like
But you
it,
can make it happen though. Like you can
yeah,
definitely make it happen.
yeah, you could definitely make it happen, man.
Yeah.
It's I want to get you in contact with my guy Howard Clay
Okay.
film. He's out of LA, and I mean, brother he had his own magazine at one point called Boss
Okay. Yeah.
magazine.
I
Yeah,
actually have heard of that.
yeah. So it was all in Publix and stuff like that. And so, but now his main focus now is film. Like
Okay.
he moved to LA just to do it. But I think that will be definitely a dope interview with you
Oh,
two guys.
yeah, that definitely would be dope. Just to hear of his experiences, like even running the magazine. And I mean,
Yeah,
my magazine has been print, and then it's been like print/digital, and now it's just completely digital. But um,
right.
I love doing it though. Like it's weird that I spent all these years trying to figure out, okay, what is it that I want to do, and like
Yeah,
what do I really want to do and go to school for. And then once I hit communications and started working for the radio station, it was like, okay, I really want to do media. Like that's all I want to do. To the point now where all I'm doing is working for me. So I've left my job and everything, and
right.
it's working. So
That's
I just, like I said, I appreciate people like you, obviously for giving me the content, but just for me to be able to see that, like, you can really do this out here, and I'm watching people like you, like, do it and do it the right way, and like I just appreciate being able to look at your journey, and kind of mirror a lot of that. Um, any type of final thoughts, final comments, or anything that you really wanted to get out there?
Man, I just want everybody to make sure you keep God first because it's hard out here,
Always,
man. And,
always,
and the struggle can get real. You just gotta have faith, man, because people got kids, they got
right here.
family. It don't matter how much money you see. You see these guys on TV. Trust me, these guys be out here about the struggle themselves. The
Yeah,
struggle is
yeah.
keep God first, man. And I'm telling you, it'll happen for you. It will definitely happen for you. Just definitely keep God first. Keep God first. Keep God first.
Like I can really, really attest to that for sure. Like like I said, I've been doing this since 2001, so it's actually been 21 years.
Mm.
And it's just like I've gotten married, had a kid, got divorced, went through like 2 years of depression. Like in that time, stopped doing media and shit altogether. And then kind of worked my way back into it. And it's just like the journey, like it's been the faith, having that faith, like throughout that time that okay, everything is really gonna come together, and even when I'm feeling like okay, maybe I shouldn't be doing this and I should go back to doing that or whatever, like I still kept going with it and kept pushing and just trying to figure out a way, and like I'm paying for everything out of pocket, so it's like it gets serious, especially when you have a kid and you got life going on, and just like anybody else, you got rent or a house note, light, gas, water, phone, pay, like everything. So it's like everything hits at one time. So it's
Right.
it definitely gets difficult. But like you said, keeping God first and just having that faith that things are really going to come together. And I mean, I've seen money come when I didn't know where no money was going to come from, and I've
Right.
seen money come. So like you said, it can happen, and you can make it happen as long as you have that faith and you keep God first. So I can definitely attest to that. But I appreciate you so much, man. I think this was really dope. Like I said, I love media, so I love having these opportunities just to connect with people and talk and really just hear about their history and their journey and, you know, how they
Right.
move forward and being able to kind of compare myself and my life to like the things that they're doing, because that also helps me know that I'm moving in the right direction and that I'm doing the right thing when I hear stories like yours. So I appreciate that, man.
No problem. No problem, man. I just appreciate the opportunity, being on here. Definitely looking forward to see what's next for you, man. I'll be supporting.
I appreciate it, man. I definitely appreciate it, and likewise, I will continue supporting, and I'm looking to see, you know, the things that you have going on, you know, throughout the remainder of this year and moving forward.
Okay, I appreciate that, man.
All right, man. So you have a good one.
All right, you too.
All right, man.